I think at this point I can probably comment on some of the deficiencies of the game. You see, it's unfortunate that... Ooh, that shouldn't... you can go there. Oop, attack. Aha! Here's something new. A quest dialogue. Just like as in Majesty, where you gave out quests, there are still quests and rewards here. Well, I suppose there were quests that were given out by the AI too in that one, but they were basically, you set up rewards for your minions to go out. There are still rewards for you in this one. Different people, in this case your advisor, will give you quests to do things, and if you succeed at them, you'll get a gold bonus. That is going to be huge. I need that gold bonus in order to keep building my wizards and my halberdiers, so hopefully I will get enough gold to keep that up. Okay. Now, let's look at my list here. The AI has some deficiencies, and one of those deficiencies is handling neutral cities. If you notice here, Pesty Hall is right adjacent to Inodum, just like Baytown is just very adjacent to Goblin Hall. I was able to capture Goblin Hall in like turn 3-ish, and he has yet to conquer Inundum. In fact, I'm going to conquer Inundum. And that is huge. He cannot handle neutral cities very well, and that is setting him significantly behind because he can't do that. And that's something that should be worked upon. They can also not handle large monsters very easily. If a large monster spawn, which there's one here, there's a large monster spawn here, and he wandered up and into their territory, and you could see the ogre fighting in here for several turns. It's got Tarnwolf down to almost dead. So the large monsters give them a really hard time, especially early on in the game. Okay, what do you want? I want an alliance with you. There we go. I can handle that. And so because of that difficulty with the monster, and because of that difficulty with the neutrals, they're getting very far behind. And now, if you control the map settings very well, very diligently when you set the game up, you can still make it a good competition, because the AI will handle itself good to a certain point. And if you just make the map so crowded so you can't expand that much, it'll keep a fairly balanced game. The AI will stay fairly effective. Its weaknesses won't become that evident. The next thing that they have difficulty is pathing goals with a settler. Now, this settler down here is a little bit worse off because I'm also barricading him in because I was slow to build this city, and I do not want him building a city there. However, once that city is built, I can move all my guys out of here, and this settler is going to spend the rest of the turn just driving around, or rest of the game just driving around in this area, accomplishing nothing. They really need better pathing AI for settlers. And an idea of something they could do that might improve the pathing AI would be to allow settlers to stack with military units. And that's something they do in Civ, and the Civ settler pathing AI is amazing. The computer players put settlers everywhere. It's ridiculous. And if the AI was a little bit more aggressive in their placement of cities and pathing of their settler AI, they would be a much more challenging opponent. Basically, if I played this game right, like by blocking off this city, the King Rat wouldn't build any more cities than these two, because he would always have this settler out. So he has a settler out, so he doesn't think he needs to build another settler. But this settler will never get to any place where he will found the city, and they'll be stuck and they'll never grow. My first mage. Now, mages are a little bit costly of a unit. 5 gold, 1 food, and 3 mana. Now, they're a ranged attack unit, so they have a range of 2. And then they have a magic spell that has a range of 3. And it takes 3 turns for this spell to regenerate, so you can use it again. With the cost of mages, they are better than archers as a ranged unit, even without their magic spells. But mages and clerics both, if you are not, I repeat, if you are not using their ranged spells, you're really going to be at a big disadvantage because you're spending far too much money on them. Oh, I have to choose a spot to put my cleric's guild. I will build it on the swamp. You do not get to build roads in this game, however, your buildings act as roads. So plan that out wherever you want to be able to move quicker. Like one of my first buildings was built here on that swamp so I could get across that quicker. They act as roads for you, even though you cannot build true roads. Build a city. You know, I'm not going to shoot that neutral because or I'm not going to shoot that monster because he's fighting the neutrals there. That works. Okay, stacking. At the very least, you don't want to make it too easy for the player, so maybe you'd have the restriction that the AI can stack units with their settlers, but people cannot. The reason I suggest that in particular, let's see, this is theoretically a mana city, so I will build my mana production first. The reason I say that is because there is no penalty for building cities in this game. So you basically revert back to the Civ 2 strategy of the settler sprawl. Basically, in that game, the first thing any of my cities ever built was a settler. And that settler would go out and explore and find himself a good spot to build a city, and then he'd build a city, and the first thing that city would build is another settler. And then that settler would go out and explore and find himself a good spot, and he would build a city, found a city, and build another settler. And so I was always building settlers. The first unit of mine to ever reach the enemy was always a settler, and yeah, it was really just a matter of who built the most settlers continually to get the biggest empire ended up winning. Well, not quite. It wasn't quite that blasé, but I mean, that was the best strategy, settler sprawl. And in this game, with no penalty for having extra cities, let's just keep building cities, build them as fast and as many as you can. Now, there are some mitigations. It's not quite as easy to do a settler sprawl in this game as in Civ 2. One, there are a lot more monsters wandering about the map than there were barbarians in that game. So a settler by himself is really just going to get his ass beat. So that does restrict things somewhat. You just can't willy-nilly just keep expanding. You run out of territory much quicker.